Right, shifting focus from Asia now to Europe. Why does Russia allow Israel to strike its ally Syria? Israel targeted Syrian bases even as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in Moscow for the Victory Day celebrations. So this makes it a bit complicated. Russia defends Iran and Syria, but it hosted their bitter enemy Benjamin Netanyahu, who in turn is bombing Syrian and Iranian assets. Netanyahu flew to Moscow on Wednesday to meet Putin, hours after US President Donald Trump quit the Iranian nuclear deal, and after Syria accused Israel of carrying out a fresh missile strike on an army base near Damascus. Now, since intervening in the Syrian civil war on behalf of President Bashar al-Assad in 2015, Russia has generally turned a blind eye to Israeli attacks on suspected arms transfers and deployments by Assad's Iranian and Lebanese Hezbollah allies. However, Moscow had condemned an earlier airstrike that killed 7 Iranians in Syria on April the 9th. Now, here's the Israeli Prime Minister taking aim at Iran from Moscow.
Это отношение во многом нас объединяет, отношение к нацизму, фашизму.
הצגתי את החובה של ישראל ואת הזכות של ישראל להגן על עצמה מפני התוקפנות באיראן, מאיראן, משטחה של סוריה, נגד מדינת ישראל. האיראנים מצהירים שבכוונתם לתקוף אותנו, הם מנסים להעביר לשם כוחות ונשק קטלני, במטרה מפורשת לתקוף את מדינת ישראל, כחלק מהאסטרטגיה שלהם להשמיד את מדינת ישראל.
Right, joining me live from Amman in Jordan is my colleague Daniele Pagani. Good evening, Daniele. What is Vladimir Putin up to in West Asia?
Good evening to you, Ramesh, and good evening to all our viewers. I think that Vladimir Putin, as of now in West Asia, is trying to present himself as the only neutral and balanced power in the troubles that are mounting at the horizon. You correctly pointed it out that Russia was always aware about what Israel was doing and where it was going when it comes to Iranian presence in Syria, despite fighting alongside Iranian-backed militias and Iranian trainers and military personnel on the side of beside President Bashar al-Assad. I think we also have to consider that the fact that Russia supports President Bashar al-Assad does not mean directly that Russia supports whatever Iran is up to in Syria, which means establishing a formal military presence on the ground. So these are the difference. Putin is trying to present itself as a neutral power breaker. He's trying to be friend with Israel and Iran at the same time, but he's not interfering when anything comes to a conflict between these two countries.
Very quickly, Daniele, we saw that the American intervention in Syria has literally brought Russia back into the reckoning, so to speak, in West Asia. On the other hand, we've seen Russia interact and engage Iran and Turkey in finding a solution to the Syrian crisis. How do you see Russia-Iran relations evolving in going forward?
Russia and Iran relations are a little bit complicated. As I said, they are both fighting on the side of President Bashar al-Assad. They consider Assad the president of Syria, the legitimate and legal president of Syria, and they will keep defending the president of Syria. And they also have interest in keeping the United States as much as possible outside the West Asian scenario. They do have conflicting problems. For instance, the oil market is one of them. There is no doubt that the more Iran economically suffer on the oil front, the more Russia stands to gain and to sell more of its oil. So it's a complicated relation, but as of now, I would say that Russia will stand on Tehran's side when it comes to the United States, but not when it comes to countering Israeli right of defending its borders against Iran.
Right, on that note, Daniele Pagani in Amman, thank you so much for joining me on WION Dispatch.